All right, let's be honest. Have you ever felt like you're just nagging your team to get through the boring but totally necessary work? In this explainer, we're going to unlock the Gamemaster's Toolkit. It's a really powerful way to think about making even the most tedious tasks genuinely engaging.
Okay, so if you're a product leader, you know this struggle all too well. I'm talking about that bug backlog that just never seems to shrink, right? Or the documentation that nobody wants to write. How do you get your team to attack those things with the same energy they have for a brand new feature?
Well, the secret isn't about pushing harder. It's about thinking differently. You see, you have a choice. You can be a taskmaster, just handing out chores and hoping for the best, or you can become a game master, someone who designs experiences so compelling that your team actually wants to jump in and play.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking when you hear the word gamification. Ugh, silly points, digital badges, all that superficial stuff, right? Well, forget all that. We're going way deeper into the core psychology of what makes play so incredibly powerful. Yeah, this is not about just slapping a smiley face on a boring spreadsheet. We are talking about reverse engineering the source code of engagement. We're tapping into those deep psychological drivers that make games so addictive and then applying them directly to the work we have to do. So that sounds great, but how do we actually do it? Well, that's where the Gamemaster's Toolkit comes in. It's a simple 5-part framework that unlocks the magic of games and makes it totally actionable for any leader. So let's dive in. First up, every great game needs a quest, a clear, compelling goal. Look, saying clean up the backlog is just terrible. It's vague, it's demotivating. But saying crush 10 P2 bugs by Friday, now that's a quest. It's specific, it's measurable, and it gives your team a real target to aim for. Next, you need rules. These are artificial constraints that create a challenge. I mean, a game without any rules is just chaos, right? A great example is the Pomodoro technique. That 25-minute timer isn't random. It's a rule that forces intense focus and creativity.
Third, you gotta have a scoreboard, a clear feedback system. In any game, you always know if you're winning or losing. At work, a highly visible burn-down chart or even just a simple checklist can do the exact same thing. It makes progress feel real, tangible, and our brains absolutely love that stuff.
Fourth, you introduce an opponent. Now, this doesn't mean you have to pit people against each other. In fact, the most powerful opponent is often your past self. Can we beat last sprint's velocity? Can we absolutely demolish our average time to fix a bug? This taps right into our natural desire for mastery. And finally, number 5. This one is maybe the most important of them all, the choice. This is the voluntary opt-in. You simply can't force someone to have fun. The moment you give people the choice to participate, it restores their sense of agency. And that is the critical line between a compelling game and just forced fun. So there you have it. That's the toolkit. A quest, the rules, a scoreboard, an opponent, and choice. When you combine these, you're not just assigning a task, you're creating a game your team will actually want to play.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but does it really work in the real world? Well, let me tell you about a powerful case study where this exact toolkit was used to literally save lives.
So picture this. A hospital is facing a massive problem. Despite all the training, reminders, and warnings, staff just weren't washing their hands enough. And as a result, dangerous infections were spreading. The traditional top-down approaches had completely failed.
And then a nurse had an idea. She applied our toolkit. The goal? Beat the high score for hand washes per hour. The scoreboard? A huge electronic display right in the hallway, showing real-time stats for everyone to see. The competition? A little friendly rivalry between the different wards. And the choice? Nobody was forced to do it, but the game was so simple and visible, it was almost irresistible.
The results were staggering. In the very first month, hand-washing compliance more than tripled. Hospital-acquired infections plummeted. This wasn't about more memos or more punishment. It was just brilliant game design.
So, how can you become a game master for your team? Let's walk through an actionable playbook that you can put into practice, like, tomorrow. It's really just 5 simple steps. First, pick your game, that recurring annoying task, like the bug backlog. Second, apply the 5 mechanics we just talked about. Third, give it a fun name. The Bug Hunter sounds way better than quarterly bug triage, right? Fourth, iterate on the rules with your team. And fifth,
Make it a multiplayer game with a shared scoreboard to really boost that motivation. But you do have to be careful. There are some pitfalls. To avoid that cringy, forced fun problem, let your teams design their own games. That's the secret to getting a genuine opt-in. Also, make sure your game rewards the right behavior. You don't want to accidentally reward closing bugs quickly if it just leads to shoddy fixes. And finally, you got to keep it fresh with new challenges so the novelty doesn't wear off. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Being a game master isn't about being manipulative or trying to trick people. It's about being a conscious designer of the work experience itself, using the proven elements of play to make any activity more engaging and, more human.
And that brings us to our final thought, a question I want you to take back to your team. Here's the thing. Whether you've designed it or not, your team is already playing a game. Your processes are the rules. Your metrics, that's the scoreboard. And your mission is the goal. So ask yourself, is the game they're playing right now a good one? Do they know how to win? And most importantly, do they want to? Now go out there and be a game master.